Good afternoon, friends. My name is Gary Allen. I'm the president of the Maryland Forestry Foundation. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this session of Framing the Future, our monthly webinar in which we try to put forth a program that helps focus on some of the fundamental issues that will frame the future of forestry in Maryland. Our one of those sessions each year since we began has been a focus on the foundation's educational programs. And this year, we're very pleased to present this year's Mel Noland Fellows. These are our higher education fellows. We're going to be asking them to talk about their experiences this past year. And ultimately, I want to remind all of you at the conclusion of this webinar that the Foundation will be pleased to encourage you to go to our foundation website, marylandforestryfoundation.org, and look to applying for the coming year's Mel Noland Fellowship Program. It's a unique program, one of the best supported programs in the nation. We look forward to having you and your friends take a look at the application process and perhaps apply yourself or encourage others to do that. Having said that, it is also my pleasure to introduce the moderator for these sessions, the young woman who is a former Mel Fellow herself, one of our first, as a matter of fact. And I'm very pleased to welcome Megan Carr as our moderator again for this session, as she has been for all of them, to introduce this year's fellows. Megan?
Thank you, Gary. Welcome everybody here today to talk to about a topic near and dear to my heart, of course, the Mel Fellowships. I found extremely helpful and a great experience when I was enrolled in higher education here in Maryland. Before we get started, just a brief note for our participants that are viewing today's webinar. We would love to have you ask some questions of our fellows about their experience. So if you do have questions, please enter those in the Q&A box that should be accessible at the bottom of your screen. And we will go over those questions at the end of today's session. And without further ado, let's hear from this year's batch of Mel Fellows and future professionals here in the state of Maryland in the environmental field. We get to start off today with Megan Curtis. She's a current master's student in the Geography and Environmental Systems Department at UMBC. Her graduate research is focused on how trees grow differently in urban ecosystems compared to forest ecosystems, and exploring how small-scale variations in the urban landscape, shaped by both natural and anthropogenic features, influence the way vegetation grows over the course of a single season. As a lifelong Maryland resident growing up on the Chesapeake Bay, she is deeply passionate about protecting the forests and waterways that were the hallmarks of her childhood for the benefit of future generations. So welcome, Megan. I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Megan. Hi, like Megan said, my name is Megan Curtis, and I am one of the Mel Urban and Community Forestry Fellows. I am just going to share my screen with you all. Okay, so just to start my presentation, this is a picture of the UMBC campus.
Sorry, I'm actually not seeing your screen. Are others on the panel able to view the slides?
Now?
It's loading for me. There we are. Okay, perfect.
Sorry.
Yep, sorry to interrupt.
I have a dual monitor situation, and sometimes apparently I don't know what I'm doing. So yes. So now that you can see my screen, this is a picture of the UMBC campus that I took in undergrad. Part of my, I guess, motivation in pursuing this degree currently was born from those experiences undergrad. So I just wanted to share that picture. And let me see. Okay. And then next is just, I guess, to give you some background from what Megan said. I grew up in Maryland. One of my biggest personal passions prior to pursuing any kind of college education, just in general, I love hiking. I love being outside, Maryland in particular is just like the perfect location for a variety of environments, and it's just where I find peace and comfort is just being in the outdoors. So that is the initial, I guess, motivation for everything that I've been doing the past few years. So these are just some pictures from hiking that I've done over the years. The bottom center picture is actually from the Smithsonian Environmental Research Center in Edgewater, Edgewater, Maryland. If you've never been there, it's beautiful, and they do some really awesome research there. So you should definitely check it out. And then this is just a little bit more about my background. When I decided to go back to school in 2021, I was a returning adult student working full time. So it was a bit of a challenge. I also didn't have any background in environmental science or forestry. So it was just like a huge jump into the unknown. But like I said, I had a really deep passion for the outdoors. Through experiences at Anne Arundel Community College, where I transferred from and UMBC, I had the opportunity to pursue a lot of different research during those years in undergrad. And a lot of those experiences and the mentorship that I received throughout is what motivated me to pursue a master's degree at UMBC. Like Megan had said, my thesis work is focused on tree growth responses and how landscape impacts that. On the right-hand side of this slide, you'll see USDA Forest Service, or I'm sorry, USF Forest Service, BES, which is Baltimore Ecosystem Study, and Baltimore Green Space. Those are just a few of the organizations that I've been able to work with, both in undergrad and in my graduate program. The bottom of the slide is more focused on my fellowship experience. So some of the highlights from that, I got to attend my first professional conference. And Gary, I actually got to attend with Gary and another one of the fellows, Stu. So that was really amazing to get to share that with another fellow, and then with Gary, who is the president of the Forestry Foundation. I've also had really significant opportunities at that conference and outside that conference to network with other professionals and students, and across all different kinds of professions. So that's been exciting. I had the opportunity through blog posts and another written piece to really figure out that I'm passionate about science communication. I think there's a gap between, the everyday person and somebody that might consider themselves like a scientist. So I think that being able to effectively communicate to the public science is really, 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 really necessary. So yeah, just those experiences have helped really kind of solidify that interest in communication and engagement. Also, I had a crash course in Maryland forestry policy, which I'm more focused in my studies, at least, on the ecology of it all. So getting that perspective of the policy side definitely has been really helpful, I think, in guiding my research, but also like how I think about urban forestry specifically, and how that can be utilized, I guess, to best help people. And then additionally, fellowship funding allowed me to be a full-time student. When I was an undergrad, I was working full-time while pursuing that degree. And one of my biggest, not regrets, but one of the things that I was missing in undergrad was like the opportunity to engage with my professors, with organizations in the community, and just being fully immersed in this education experience. So I'm really grateful and just really, really excited to have had that opportunity. Being present and having the time to invest in my professional development and my personal development, you know, a lot of that is tied in with finances. So that's definitely been really helpful. And then this is just a slide from the conference. So on the right-hand side, it was the Partners in Community Forestry Conference. Right-hand side is from Chicago Farm Works, which is a urban farm in the heart of Chicago, providing fresh produce to the community. And then on the left-hand side is the Wild Mile, which is a floating boardwalk with floating gardens that provide aquatic habitat and some terrestrial habitat. But it's along the Chicago River, and I just thought it was so beautiful. And that particular area reminded me of like the Patapsco River in Baltimore, and I just started to get all these wonderful ideas about what that would be like in Baltimore. So that was a great experience. And then last slide is just about my research for my thesis. So how does local landscape variation influence tree growth rates within a growing season? I am using dendrometer bands, which are these metal bands that go around the base of a tree. And I take digital calipers and I go out every week and measure about 100 trees. And over time can produce something like this graph at the very bottom, which is looking at how different levels of impervious surface impacted growth rates of a group of red maple trees in my sample population. So yeah, I get to hang out with trees all day, and that's a lot of fun. Yeah, I think that's it for me. But again, I just really want to reiterate, this has been a great experience. I've never had a fellowship before, so this is my first fellowship experience among a lot of other firsts, and it's just been really, really enjoyable, and just a lot of opportunities that I guess I wasn't fully expecting, but very grateful to have present themselves. And yeah, so I think that is all. Thank you all so much. And I'm trying to not share my screen anymore, so I don't know if I'm effectively doing that. Megan, feel free to chime in at any time.
Okay, so far we still have you sharing right now. We'll get that sorted, but yeah, thank you very much for that great overview of your experience. Yeah, okay, now you're all set. You're squared away. But yeah, really wonderful to hear that this was able to support more opportunities for you to focus further on your work, which is the larger goal of these fellowships as a whole, is making sure that the fellows can focus on their studies and to be successful there. So that is wonderful news. Okay, so next up, we are going to be joined by Maddie Painter. She is a forest management major at West Virginia University, currently earning her bachelor's degree after earning her associate's degree in forest technology from Allegheny College of Maryland. She's a Maryland native with a deep love for nature and the dedication to back it up. After her graduation, Maddie plans on pursuing work with the Park Service or in environmental education. And she is joining us by audio today as she is in Western Maryland, so please bear with us through any minor technical hiccups. Maddie, I will let you start talking. I'll get your slides pulled up here.
All right. Hi, guys. All right. Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, you sound good.
Okay, perfect. So sorry I couldn't be in front of you on video call today. It's very unfortunate. We tried to give it a try, but we figured it would just be better to do it over this way. So Megan's going to be pulling up some pictures, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But just to reiterate, I'm an alumni of the Forest Technology program at Allegheny College of Maryland. I graduated there from 2022. I stumbled into forestry on accident. I like to tell that story when I'm introducing myself. I had no idea what I wanted to do coming out of high school, and I took a chance on Allegheny College because it was my community college at the time. So I just kind of showed up and I found my dream job. I found what I love to do. Right now, I'm currently entering my senior year at WVU with my major in forestry with an emphasis in forest management. So that's very exciting. I'll be projected to graduate in spring of 2026, which is great. Makes me feel a little old, but again, with my background, I grew up in Cumberland, Maryland. I grew up all around Western Maryland. I just love it here. I spent a good bit of my childhood on my grandparents' property in Spring Gap, Maryland, where they have about 40 acres of forest land. And that's really just exploring, running around the woods as a kid, really made me want to be a steward of the environment and learn more about it. So I'm now going to talk about the fellowship because that has been a major game changer this year with everything. So through the fellowship, I was able to get a lot of financial assistance, which I'll talk about here in a second. But I also got a lot of opportunities. I got to attend the SAF meeting for the Allegheny chapter at Allegheny College of Maryland, which was really great. Got to see a bunch of familiar faces, see a bunch of great presentations. Also, I was able to show off, kind of what I know and to do some further research through the written pieces that I did. And my topic was forest management versus nature, which till to this day, I feel like is one of the best works I've ever done writing-wise. I loved writing that paper. It was really, really great. But one thing I also really like about the fellowship is getting to connect with people in our field. And one thing I really loved was the blog posts that we got to do. I really enjoyed reading all the other fellows' works. I just love to hear what people are doing, especially since I'm in the more like air quote traditional forestry aspect. I love seeing like what the urban foresters are doing. I think what Megan is doing especially is super, super cool. So it was great getting to know like project updates and getting to see blog posts from that. That was really, really cool. But one thing that kind of wraps the fellowship up in a big ribbon for me is the financial assistance. Being an undergrad and especially being off at WVU, which is an out-of-state school, there's a lot more financial burden there. So I feel like before the fellowship, I was kind of just trying to survive, just struggling and like kind of clawing my way. I worked a lot as a full-time student. It was very stressful, but through the fellowship, their financial assistance really allowed me to actually apply myself in professional development and extracurriculars. There is so much interesting things I got to do just this year because I didn't have to worry so much about where my money was coming from. I still work part-time and that's just life, but it has been a major game changer. Just being at WVU, it was my first year here because I was a transfer student. So I was able to attend like thesis defenses, get to go like experience some community things and trips. And that kind of brings me to the photos that Megan graciously pulled up for me. So thank you. So what you're looking at here is I got to attend Advocacy Day with the Rachel Carson Council. And essentially what they do is they do environmental lobbying. So we were talking about wood pellets and some other environmental lobbying issues right now. So I just have some pictures pulled up here. I was able to actually visit with the representative of my district, which is April McLean Delaney. It was super, super cool. I got to meet with her staffers. I got to talk about environmental lobbying, and it was just a great experience that otherwise I would not have been able to do. Because without that fellowship to back me up, I probably would have had to say no to that opportunity. So getting able to do that is great. And the fellowship, it wasn't just supporting my like extracurricular and like professional development. It also directly, indirectly helped with my school. Because when you think about it, I had so much more time to apply myself, to study. So I actually had a significant GPA increase, with the reduced stress due to that financial burden being taken off my shoulders. So to preface this, the fellowship pretty much changed my life with the ability to connect with people, to read what people are doing, to share research, the financial benefits. It was just really great. I'm very thankful that I had it. So yeah, definitely should apply if people are thinking about that, or share this opportunity with people who can benefit from this. So yeah, kind of all I had.
Well, that is really wonderful. And yeah, I will repeat that it is really excellent to hear just how much of a difference that the fellowships were able to make and helping, our fellows to do the good work that we want to see you doing. So yeah, thank you for that. Um, we will move on forward into our third fellow who will be talking to us today. We'll get to meet with Stuart Sharon, who is currently pursuing a master's degree in landscape architecture at Morgan State University, building on several years of hands-on experience in ecological landscaping. His work is rooted in a deep commitment to sustainable communities and ecological restoration, informed by both academic study and field experience, including his involvement with the Maryland Forestry Foundation. He aims to integrate design, science, and community engagement to shape landscapes that are resilient, restorative, and responsive to environmental and social challenges. So thanks for taking the time, Stuart. I'll let you take it away.
Great, thank you so much, Megan. I hope everybody's well. My name's Stuart Sharon. A little bit of my background. I graduated a few years back from Salisbury University with an undergrad in environmental studies. And that being a very broad topic, I didn't really know what I wanted to do post-graduation. And then I ended up spending about 8 years in the field focusing on what I would consider ecological landscaping. So using native plants to create habitat, but also, uh, you know, aesthetic gardens and whatnot for residential folks. And that sort of birthed my passion for the world of landscaping, and I wanted to take it to a larger scale. So I am now pursuing that master's degree in landscape architecture at Morgan State in Baltimore. And that is what led me to this fellowship, which has been beyond words, very eye-opening. I did not expect it to be so very relevant to my current educational path and the work that I do in the field. Um, it has sort of changed my perspective in a way, as for the past few years have been focusing so much on the ecology side of things. And then now through this fellowship, I have gained this new profound perspective on the fact that there really is no ecology without community engagement and really getting people involved and spreading that passion. So I will say that my greatest experience thus far with the fellowship was that the Partners in Community Forestry conference that Megan was talking about, and being able to spend time with Megan and Gary, and then all the incredible seminars that were available to all of us. And ultimately, my greatest takeaway from that was the amount of networking involved, and even just during free time, being able to shake hands with some like-minded folks and really widening my perspective on the fact that there are plenty more stakeholders involved than I ever expected. And I went into it with my passion for nature, and I realized that it's not just that, it's community engagement, it's the nonprofits that are doing amazing work. And that was just an incredible experience, 2 full days of just meeting one person after the next that really helped to shape where I am now. And I have to say that my most eye-opening part of that conference was the hands-on tour that was provided. I was part of the tour guided by Open Lands, which is a nonprofit in Chicago, and their goal is to spread all this environmental awareness and figuratively create trails throughout the city of Chicago. And a lot of it in disenfranchised communities, which really resonated with me. And it sent me home wondering what can Baltimore be doing differently. And that resulted in me collaborating with some of my colleagues and professors, and once again realizing just how relevant this fellowship is to the program that I'm in. And it it's been very moving that way. And beyond that, it's completely changed how I approach my studio assignments and the designs that I draw up, that prior to being involved in this fellowship, a lot of it was extremely nature-based, my studio designs, and now I'm focusing a lot more on how you bring community into things, and how the two collaborate. So that it's had innumerable benefits that way. And to agree completely with what Megan and Maddie were saying, the financial assistance has completely freed me up creatively, scholastically, everything to really dive in a bit deeper into what I am pursuing. So yeah, for that I'm extremely thankful. Um, and yeah, I think that I would recommend this fellowship to anyone in any career path that's anywhere close to being relevant to this, because I'm sure you would find so much benefit no matter where you're coming from or going. It's been a wonderful experience. So yeah, I thank everyone for that, and the other fellows, reading everyone's blog posts, everybody coming from semi-different backgrounds. I think that also contributes to that idea of collaboration, and just, yeah, very, very perspective widening. So yeah, that's about it. It's been a great experience all around.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Stuart. And yeah, the cross collaborations and learning from people with related but kind of, slightly different areas of practice that really resonates with me. So yeah, thank you for your overview of your experience. It's really great to hear how successful this has been for everyone. For our final presenter today, we get to hear from Michael Wade, who is a graduate of St. Mary's College of Maryland and a proud Mel Fellow for the Maryland Forestry Boards. He loves being outside in any environment, working with people, and making a difference in his local community. So thank you, Michael. I'll let you take it away.
Perfect. Can you all see my screen?
Yep, looks great.
Perfect. Thank you. Again, thank you for introducing me, Megan. So I'm Michael. I'm a Natural Resources Careers Mouth Fellow, and I'm excited to share my experiences with you all today. But a little bit more about myself. So I, just a week ago now, I graduated from St. Mary's College of Maryland with majors in environmental studies and a minor in educational studies. So again, really combining my love for the environment and love for working with people. At St. Mary's, I've had a chance to be involved in a ton of different places. Again, thanks to the financial assistance of the Mel Fellowship. Some of the photos up there. I've gotten to go to Georgia with the Habitat for Humanity Club. I've gotten to help with some federally funded research projects. I've also had the chance to engage with entities on campus. In the bottom left, there's some chickens at our farm. In the bottom right, there's a picture from the cross country team my freshman year, which I was previously captain of the track and cross country teams. I also had the chance, just again, to engage with my local community through the thanks to the Mel Fellowship and the funding. On the far right in the middle was a photo from a community gathering I was able to host as part of my undergraduate research, doing community work with shoreline vegetation. So again, combining trees in the community environment, some of my loves. And in the bottom left middle, again, talking about being outside, that's a photo of me and Peyton Eppert, a previous Mel Fellow, who we got to climb Mount Elbert last summer. So it's a super cool opportunity. Again, I love being outside. I love working with people, just engaging with the local community is something super special to me. Oh, Perfect. So Bell Fellowship, again, it's been an amazing experience for me, just a chance to engage with professionals in the field, get to do actual good work in the community. That's a photo from the first meeting in November of last year. Got the chance again to meet Don and Gary in person, have the chance to talk with as forestry professionals within Maryland and learn about stuff that's happening. It's super important for me to finally get really feet on the ground, get to experience everything that's going on. And then along with that, I was able to take my knowledge from that. And as a natural resources careers fellow, I'm responsible for advertising the natural resources careers camp, which if any of you know, any high schoolers might be interested in it, it's a super cool opportunity this summer to get to experience a variety of natural resources camps in West or natural resources careers out in Western Maryland. So I was able to work with the Howard County Public School System, the St. Mary's County Public Schools, and then Howard County's applications and research laboratory to go into schools, to high schools, more so some science classes, environmental science classes, to talk to students about opportunities available with them through the Natural Resources Careers Camp and how much of a great opportunity it would be. If I had known about it in high school, I 100% would have applied. I unfortunately did not know about it, so I'm trying to encourage as many people as I can who have people to come and engage with it. And again, if you know someone, please let them continue to engage with it. Another part of the fellowship experience was doing research, and I loved how flexible it was. So I am from Central Maryland. I'm right next to Patapsco Valley State Park, and I have grown up there my whole life. And so I have an inherent love for the place. And so as part of my fellowship research requirement, I got the chance to design a tree planting plan for Maryland, and I used the Patapsco Valley State Park as a big inspiration of mine. Just it's a very, very diverse park, very well preserved, and it's a great community gathering spot. So combining all these things and encouraging individuals to keep their forested spaces forested instead of selling to developers is super important. Again, help bring it back closer to home for me, something that is super important. And then, so I did not attend the conference in Chicago. Instead, I got to attend a conference in San Diego. So I attended the National Working Waterfronts Network conference, which my passions, I have a lot of different passions. One of them is working in coastal areas as well. And so combining my love for coastal areas, the environment, and trees as well is super, super important to me. But this conference was a chance for professionals across the US who work in the waterfront field to gather, discuss, present. And this was an incredibly eye-opening opportunity for me. Professionally, I got to meet other individuals in the field who I could be working with later in life. I got the chance to talk to other individuals about the research I'm doing, well, that I recently completed that I'm hoping to get published soon, where I worked with local coastal communities in Southern Maryland, as well as the Maryland Department of Environment, Department of Natural Resources, Maryland Sea Grant, and then multiple shoreline management firms to help design better vegetation plans for Maryland shoreline management communities or communities in Maryland need shoreline management. And so the chance to go to San Diego, somewhere I'd never been before, which we'll get to that in a sec, but the chance to go to San Diego to meet with all these professionals in the fields from across the US, from Alaska, I had the four corner. I met people from Maine, Florida, Alaska, and Hawaii across the US as well. It was such a cool opportunity just to get to speak with people I never would have otherwise met. But also, I'm very grateful for the Maryland Forestry Board for providing this opportunity because this was I think this was the biggest trip I've ever been on. My family doesn't have a ton of money, and so having the opportunity to go to a conference fully funded, I made the most of it. It was so cool for me to get the chance to explore explore an entirely new corner of the world I'd never been to. That's what some of the photos are there from. It was such a great opportunity, and also to experience the flora in a new area. I'd never been really anywhere outside the deciduous forests um, of of Maryland, and so seeing a more arid environment, seeing all the different the ecology out there was so cool to me. And again, that's another thing I'm grateful for the Mel Fellowship though is of course I want to go into the forestry field, which I'll talk about in a sec, but there is a chance to explore other areas as well. Like you don't have to be strictly 100% trees all day, which of course a lot of us are because that's a very great thing to be into. But there is room to experience, room to explore other interests in your life. But my next steps. So this summer, I'll actually be attending the Gull Island Institute. It's a month-long term on an island off the coast of Cape Cod. So I'll get the chance to do community work out there. I'm really hoping to bring some of my forestry knowledge into it. Get the chance to take part in literary discussions, work with communities, help with disenfranchised communities with potential reconstruction projects. So I'm super excited for that. And after that, I will be attending the Natural Resource Careers Camp. I'm super excited to take a stop by, get to talk to students there, really see what they get to experience, and also maybe learn from myself, meet some professionals in the field, and get to meet a bunch of new people. And then lastly, I'm in the application process for the Chesapeake Conservation and Climate Corps, as well as a Fulbright scholarship. So for the Chesapeake Conservation and Climate Corps, I have the chance to, which I actually conducted my interview just a couple hours ago today. But I'm really hoping I'll be able to land a position with the Howard County Department of Parks and Recreation and their forestry department, where I get to use my skills in GIS and land planning to work to design more equitable urban and rural tree plantings to help communities most that are more impacted by climate change. At the same time, combine my love for the environment and for working with people. At the same time, too, I'm applying for a Fulbright research grant. So I'm hoping to take the research I've done through undergraduate abroad. I'm not sure which country yet. It's going to be somewhere along the coast, but get the chance to explore outside the US, get to take my research elsewhere and conduct it. And again, continue taking my love for the forest, trees, shorelines, the environment, and again, work abroad with other people, which the Mel Fellowship has been an incredible opportunity for me. I think a theme I've noticed among all of us is we worked a lot to be able to afford college. I was a resident assistant for all 4 years of my college career, just paying for housing and paying for food. And I worked a lot outside as well. But the Mel Fellowship gave me a little bit more freedom to A, explore more interest in life, and B, get the chance to actually like check out the world, see it through a different light, which I'm super, super grateful for. And I'm really thankful for the chance to again be a part of this amazing institution. So yeah, thank y'all for your time.
Thank you, Michael, and congratulations on your graduation and on the opportunities that you already have lined up ahead. So many exciting things, and I hope you'll stay in touch with all of us at the foundation and let us know about the next adventures that you go on. I think that goes for everyone here. So I never fully disentangled myself after my fellowship. I just kind of kept turning up like a bad penny at Maryland Urban Community Forest Committee meetings, various forestry board functions, and I've been welcomed in. And it's, this is an introduction to you into the field, but it's by no means needs to end now. This is a community that you can remain a part of to whatever degree works best for you. So I think we had one question that Don already answered in the chat that was more focused on people considering applications to the fellowship coming up. While we're on that topic, or since that particular door has been opened, Gary or Don, I don't know if you'd like to unmute or come on camera for a couple minutes to talk briefly about the application cycle coming up for the next round of fellows, what kind of candidates you're looking for, and how people should get involved if they would like to apply.
Well, thank you, Megan. I'd like to make a few comments. First, I want to thank all the current fellows for their kind, supportive, and encouraging comments. It sounds like their experiences have been very remarkable personally for them, and frankly, I'm very pleased that the foundation could be supportive of those experiences and help provide that foundation for your personal and professional career. That's what the fellowship is all about. Let me emphasize that the number one priority of the Mel Fellowship is the matriculation of students in a higher education program. You have to be a Maryland resident, but you do not necessarily have to be enrolled in a Maryland higher education institution in order to apply. The application process is available online at marylandforestryfoundation.org. But it might be helpful for me to spend just a minute or two telling you what our expectations are in the process. As I say, number one, the foundation's commitment to you, if you are a selected fellow, is the provision of financial aid over a course of 10 months for $10,000. That's $1,000 a month in support of your educational experience. In every case, our priority is that you continue your matriculation toward a degree program in either some natural resource field or urban and community forestry. Let me also indicate that there are a couple other expectations we have if you are a selected fellow. Uh, that matriculation is number one, but we also support your participation, as the fellows highlighted, a conference participation. So you get, as in addition to your support, full financial support for the participation in at least one national conference during your fellowship year in a field in your field, hopefully directly related, but in an area. So we'll pay for the transportation per diem and registration for that particular conference experience. Several of the urban fellows highlighted their experience in the National Urban and Community Forestry Conference. This year it's to be held in Nevada. And obviously, both the urban fellows that are selected for the coming year's program will be invited to attend along with me in Henderson, Nevada, at that program. It's the first Urban Community Forestry Conference, Urban Forestry Partners Conference in a desert setting. So it should be quite unique, as a matter of fact. And you'll be encouraged to join us, and we'll help support your attendance at that event. We also want each fellow to take a hard look at what motivated them to enter their particular field of choice. So we have a research requirement, and we'll provide certain topics that we think are of broad interest in framing the future of forestry in Maryland, to which we would like you to lend your perspective. And we provide those topics to the selected fellows in the fall at a in-person meeting. Hopefully it's in person. And then you have about 4 months till January to provide us with a research assignment on that. So think of it as a semester-long research assignment on a topic of interest to the future of forestry in Maryland. In addition to that, as also was mentioned by a couple of our fellows today, you're asked to provide at least two brief blog contributions to the website, again, reflecting on some perspective that you think or issue you'd like to highlight as a part of your educational experience, or as an issue you'd like to highlight simply because it's a broad interest to you in the field of natural resources or the environment. These are important things because we're going to use the fellows, as we have every fellows, as kind of the face of the future of forestry. And so we'll ask you to get involved in the recruitment for our natural resources careers camp and our urban forestry careers camps, both of which are other educational experiences for high school students. And we want you to take advantage of your perspective as a higher education student to look back on what motivated you when you were slightly younger to actually pursue a degree and apply for the fellowship, enroll in college, and ultimately apply yourself for 4 or 5 or more years to help achieve a undergraduate or graduate degree in this field. And finally, we're going to ask you to be again the face of the program and help us for outreach to the program itself, that is, to other future applicants to the fellowship program. So, all in all, it's not just that we're going to give you money to matriculate, although that's our number one over and over. It is that we want to see you, we want to treat you, we want to hold you up as the future of natural resources careers in not only Maryland, but in the United States and beyond, because we think this is a growing, cutting edge series of professionals, and we want you to be a representative of what lies ahead in this area. We happen to think that the large majority of people are going to find these fields attractive, and most of them have no idea what the details are. I must admit, just in closing of my comments, that I was kind of surprised but encouraged by the fact that some of you kind of stumbled into the field and now have begun to bloom in the field as a future professional in it. I am so pleased that the fellowship program has been able to support the opportunity for you to find this experience and literally thrive in it. So, again, I want to thank you for your participation today. And Megan, as a former fellow, is there any specific experience that you've had beyond uh, the participation in the program itself that you think highlights what might lie ahead? Has it opened doors for you? Has it broadened your perspective? Has it something that you think will allow them to continue to mature in their professional journey?
Yeah, I think for me, the main takeaway from my experience was kind of a just getting a broad introduction to the field in Maryland. So I had lived in Maryland off and on for years, but not being a native, I didn't really have as much of a sense on the ground of who's doing what. And so during my fellowship, which was back in 2017 to 2018, I had the opportunity to really, through helping to coordinate the summit that was held in spring of 2018,
Mm,
just to get introduced to so many of the people that are doing the actual work of forestry statewide. So that includes, both practitioners through like DNR and local forestry, like county and city level forestry offices, as well as just other people that have a really strong commitment and are involved through volunteer service on like their local forestry boards. And there's the cliche, of course, that it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it's more complicated than that because it's not just a matter of, making a contact and now I've got something in my Rolodex that I can point to, but it really does give you a better sense of how things are operating, and how you can fully engage. And that's really critical for professional development is just when you don't know something, knowing who you can go to ask. So it was a fantastic learning opportunity that really set me up to be able to continue to learn because I was able to meet a lot of folks that have expertise that I don't. And through service here at the foundation, I'm able to stay in touch. And I know that if I have a question about statewide policy, who better to hassle than Gary? And many of the other folks on the boards that I can reach out to if there's something that comes up that's related to their particular area of focus.
well, I want to ask if any of the fellows want to volunteer or comment. I want to make two other little comments. One is the current state forester, by the way, is a graduate of one of the camps, the Natural Resources Careers Camp that the foundation coordinates in cooperation with the state's forestry boards. And I need to remind all the current fellows, which are on line with us, that there is one more assignment that each of them has as a closeout because each will be asked to provide us with a closeout report by mid-July, fellows. So we have a written record of your experience as a fellow. Today's webinar is a wonderful video record, which we'll obviously widely share. But the agency requires us to also remember the state funds this thing because we got the law passed quite some time ago to do that. It requires us to provide a written report about whether or not we spent their money wisely. So your contribution as and a final report is also very, very helpful in that closeout report that we're providing the state each year. Do any of you want to comment further about the comments of your colleagues or yourself? Again, I want to say how impressed I was and pleased with all the comments you made earlier. But if you have a closing comment, now would be the time to share it. Anybody?
So I can say something real quick. I see two oh, sorry. To Megan's point about just getting to know people and like through many of my, especially in the Maryland, Maryland's a pretty small state, just through many of the job interviews I've had, I'll mention working with the Maryland Forestry Board and whatnot. I'm like, oh, do you know XYZ? And I'm like, yes, I do. I've talked to them. I met them in person. And like, oh, great. And then one more check mark for yourself. So it's a very good professional opportunity, but also, again, a personal opportunity. It's just been a great experience. I want to say thank you all. Thank you to all for thank you to you all for encouraging us throughout this fellowship and just giving us the great opportunities within it. So yeah, thank you all.
Thank you, Michael. Um,
Yeah, and I could also add something if you'd like me to.
sure, please do, Betty.
So, like I said, the fellowship was a major game changer for me. And one thing that Megan mentioned and that I have mentioned before is that I wanted to end up in the Park Service. And right now, I'm actually starting at Rocky Gap State Park. So the fellowship was good because it allowed me to take some time off of work so I could go through all the interview processes for the state, which was really great. And also, it is going to allow me to go to South Africa on Wednesday for about 2 weeks for a study abroad opportunity. So it's not just, financial and opening doors in like your community. It opens doors for like everywhere. So it definitely has been an incredible opportunity. And I'm just very thankful for all of you for being able to coordinate all of our meetings and our posts and everything. And it's just been great. So I just wanted to say thank you again.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. What a wonderful opportunity for you and for all of you. You guys have been a wonderful face of forestry for the foundation and representatives of the program this past year. We're very grateful to have had you. Uh, Stuart, I was very interested in how it kind of broadened your perspective and your comments. It sounds like, and I hope that you're looking for some new opportunities as the next step in your life. Do you see anything ahead that is encouraging for you, Stuart?
Yeah, I guess I briefly touched on it, but toward the beginning of my degree or pursuing this master's degree, so much of what I was looking at was nature based, and I had these aspirations of practically, actually more figuratively, wiping out any sort of impervious surface that I could, and throwing up a new park. And what this fellowship showed me was that, back up a second and realize how much it impacts a community to have something where both people and planet can meet and collaborate. And it's sort of redirected my path into, I did not expect to be in the urban environment as much as I am. And that's both because of the fellowship and, going to school in Baltimore City. And so much of our studio projects are circulated around, you know, right now looking at Herring Run just outside of, just off of Back River. I've dealt with some projects down in the Inner Harbor area, and how much of an impact we, anyone could have focusing more so where population is dense, and it's almost, it's in my opinion a lot more important to bring nature back, to express the importance of urban forestry in general, to an area that is lacking. So what I would say is that my direction has changed a lot from focusing in what's already a fairly wild area, because I love to be out in nature, out in the trees, to actually honing that in to bring you back to the city, or where population's dense. So it has really shifted my perspective as to where it is necessary, in my opinion. So professionally, yes, I'm focusing a lot more in these areas of urban development rather than the places that I like to go get lost in the woods. So yeah,
Thank you, Stuart.
yeah.
Megan, you want to add anything to that based on what the future holds for you immediately?
Yeah, well, I don't know about what the future holds for me immediately. I know that this summer, my hope is to uh finish some data analysis and hopefully knock out a big chunk of thesis writing. I haven't really gone mentally beyond that yet, so I don't know about too far beyond the summer, but I will say, just as like to prospective applicants, either to this fellowship or to the summer camps for high school students. It took me a long time to learn this, but reaching out to other people for help, asking questions, particularly when it comes to being an undergrad and being a young person, talking to your professors, asking about research opportunities, just trying to get involved in whatever you think might interest you is so important. And just being open to opportunity, but also like pursuing that opportunity. Particularly with this fellowship, you know, it offered a lot of financial assistance, but I can't underscore enough like how beneficial networking, engaging with other professionals, engaging with communities, all of that has had like a very large impact, I think, on, again, personal and professional development for myself. And I think those are invaluable experiences. But yeah, ask questions, ask for opportunity, whatever you're interested in. It's certainly worth pursuing. And those experiences end up shaping you and helping to guide next steps. So I think it's really wonderful that this opportunity is available. And I appreciate it.
Thank you, Megan. Any closing comments, Megan?
Uh, just yeah, to thank our group of fellows again for taking the time out to talk about their experience and tell us a little bit about how things went and where things are going. It's been a pleasure getting to know you a little bit better and to hear about your work. So thanks for being here.
Well, let me close this webinar today by simply highlighting what lies ahead, friends. We have a wonderful set of programs over the next several months. On the third Thursday of every month, we'll talk about framing the future. And in the coming month, we'll be talking about the Healthy Forest, Healthy Waters program, which is one of the key programs for Maryland's 5 million tree commitment and how it gets implemented on the landscape in every county in Maryland. And let me simply say there is going to be a highlight this fall. And we have, I'll just give you a heads up. We're extremely excited about a commitment we have coming up this fall because we have Dr. Doug Talmy, who is one of the premier authors about sustainable landscapes in the United States. And in September of 2025, he will be talking in our webinar on building a sustainable landscape 1 yard at a time. Be free enrollment. Usually these things aren't quite so free. And Doug has a brand new book out. Just came out about 3 weeks ago called How I Can Help. It's the fifth book in this remarkable man's career on how to help all of us better understand the role of native species in sustaining the landscape in whatever community we live in. So we invite all of you to join us on the third Thursday of each month because the topics ahead, I think you will find challenging, interesting, and informative. Thank you very much, Megan, and all of our fellows today. And I look forward to seeing and talking with you perhaps one more time before you graduate from the program. My best to you. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye, friends.
Thank you.